Rudi Keller with Missouri Independent. How are you today?
Good.
I'm calling. I'm a reporter, and I wanted to talk about your U.S. Senate campaign. Is this a good time?
I'm actually at the parts store. What did you want to know?
Well, I mean, I wanted to spend a few minutes just chatting with you on the phone and learning about you and your campaign. But
sure.
If you're no,
go.
I can call you back.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Nobody's called me. They wouldn't let me speak in Springfield the other night, Tuesday night.
Yeah, I was down there, and I was contacted by Curtis Vaughn, another candidate, who was complaining that they wouldn't let him in.
Oh.
So you're another one that did. I mean, what'd they tell you?
They said they used a polling. I actually recorded the phone call. I'm known for recording a lot of phone calls, and I tend to sound like a crybaby when I'm whining that they wouldn't let me be on there. But she said they did the poll, and they were just going to let the top three, but the top three canceled. So then it was the next three, and so, which I thought was unfair. And so I didn't go.
Okay. I see from your Twitter handle, and you've used this for a while, it seems, prior to becoming a Senate candidate. You have as your symbol the flag raised by the Missourians who were in rebellion against the United States before an attempt was made by the legislature to secede. The Missouri State Guard battle flag. Why is that your symbol?
Well, I was born and raised in Missouri, and I just like that symbol. The Libertarian Party didn't like that. I might know people that fly the Confederate flag.
So, had you been involved with the Libertarian Party at some point?
No. Well, I like Ron Paul. I was a Missouri delegate in the Ron Paul Revolution, so I was a Jasper County delegate for Ron Paul when he ran as a Republican for president.
Okay.
And I went to the state convention in Springfield that year. Did you find all that stuff? Oh, it was the wrong guy.
So, there are people who would say that the battle flag is a symbol of a racist system of government.
I don't think so.
Why not?
Why do I not think it's a racist symbol? It's a Christian cross on a blue field. It's just like a Christian flag. I see it as a Christian flag.
And then its ties to Missouri and the idea of opposition to federal,
yes,
the federal government is what attracts you, I guess, as well.
Yes, that it was people that didn't agree. I don't agree with slavery or what John Brown did. So, and the Civil War veterans are considered equal to any veteran that, when they laid down their arms and surrendered, and, the attack on General Lee to take down his statue, he always called to reunite the Union, and I'm for America staying together, and I'm for America first. I'm not for us sending $40 billion to Ukraine. I think we should think about working families here in America when we have inflation. We have gas prices higher than they've ever been in my lifetime. I remember my dad had a fit when it hit $1.
So what are the key things that you would want to?
I would like to secure our border by designating the drug cartels as terrorist organizations. I believe there should be a constitutional law saying police have a duty to protect after the things that we've seen happen involved down in Texas. I think there should be a. Go ahead.
You're referring to the Uvalde.
Uvalde, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so from some of the things that I've seen you posted, you're not, blind. You don't blindly support the police the way I've seen some politicians do. You have a post about the what's his name, Winehouse.
Yes,
case.
Jeffrey Winehouse. Yeah.
And you've had your own issues with law enforcement there in Ozark County, it looks like. From
yes, and if you Google my name, you'll see I got a ticket in downtown Branson when I drove the horse and carriage ride in downtown Branson, and I wanted to park where the trolley parks, and the trolley receives federal money. It receives tires, fuel, and they get a free parking spot right across from the Five and Dime. And the Five and Dime folks wanted me to park there, and at 6 o'clock, the trolley would go home. But yet I would call them dog lovers, people who don't understand horsemanship or the use of a horse. We live by a lot of Amish who use their horses, and why would you want to hurt your best friend who is helping you out making a living? And, they used to hang people for horse theft because it was a man's livelihood. And I received a couple $5 parking tickets for parking there, and they wanted me to park down where I couldn't be seen. And the investor I worked for didn't want to continue to fight them, but those tickets were dismissed. And the only altercation with law enforcement was they said I couldn't park there several times, and I said, well, give me a parking ticket. And they gave me a parking ticket, and I went to court and had my day in court. So it really wasn't that I think was a hit piece on the carriage by people that didn't want us down there. And I was down there for many years and never had an accident or anything like that. And
you also posted some videos critical of judges and questioning the sheriff. I see you posted a video today about an indictment.
Yeah, that was me. That was me. I posted a YouTube video about people that were posting flyers up and down our road where we lived that said my wife was the best cocksucking whore in Ozark County, Missouri. And I posted a video that said these boys are hypocrites. Their wives are. And my front door was kicked in by law enforcement. I was arrested. I represented myself pro se to this point. I've hired a Kansas City attorney now. His name is Benjamin Arnold. And they've done nothing but not give me fair treatment. And they took it to a grand jury, and I was indicted, and I had already posted a $1,500 cash bond. And today when they arrested me, good thing I walk around with $5,000 in my pocket. It was a $3,500 cash bond that I paid, and I'll have my day in court and believe I'll be exonerated, and or we'll work something out. But that video does not violate YouTube standards, or YouTube would have taken it down if it violated YouTube standards. I mean, the sheriff of Ozark County, I've had naked pictures of him, and who knows what's going on down there. I'm a family man. Every incident there at Ozark County happened at my home, and there is a in particular video there with a man waving a firearm in front of my house, and there's no charges. It's called unlawful use of a firearm. The man says, I don't know who you are. You've done pissed me off. He waves his AR-15 at my house. Then he fires the weapon. When the old sheriff, Darren Reed, came, he said, I know those boys, Darrell. They're not doing nothing. They're just trying to intimidate you. Well, this would lead me to say Mark McClowski is going around telling people that he is going to fight for Missourians. He's an attorney. I don't know how much he's worth, but he's got a couple dollars. And we know Black Lives Matter has had a lot of good people give them money that they could help their fellows. They could help their fellow social justice warriors. they could help them with housing or something, but they've been partying it up. They're flying around on planes, $90 million. And Mark McClowski could demand that they repair the gate in his neighborhood, and he could sue them. He's not done that. And he forfeited his AR-15. I absolutely have no problem with him pointing a gun at people and saying, get the hell off of my property and my land, and protecting his family. He absolutely has every right to do that. But I have a problem with him going around saying, I'm going to fight for Missourians, when he won't even fight for himself. I would like to see there be a constitutional right for citizens to convene a grand jury. Now, if you Google that, they're going to say it's white supremacy. It absolutely is not. I think anyone who is an American citizen should be able to. I was the chief petitioner to audit Lexington, Missouri back in 2016. I was arrested by the police chief for taking signatures. When the audit came out, and that's Josh Hawley's hometown, and Josh Hawley refused to answer a sunshine request about Mark Landfair, the police chief, who, when the audit came out, quit being a police chief and went to work for the highway patrol at the weight station on I-70, giving hard-working truck drivers tickets for bad tires and taillights. And when the audit came out, the charges went away in Lafayette County for taking signatures and supposedly resisting when handcuffs were put on me. And I said, "You're hurting me." That was my resisting. That's my resisting charge. And then after he took me to jail, Landfair came back to the house and bullied my wife and told her to sign a statement. And but regardless, that was a long time ago. Josh Hawley, though, refused to answer a sunshine request in concerns of Mark Landfair, the police chief of Lexington, Missouri, in 2016. That Landfair had misused the mule system in years prior. I found that on the city's notes, and then once I found it and brought it to their attention, it was removed from the city's notes. I asked Josh Hawley to give me the police records, and police records are public records. The ACLU spent millions of dollars in a St. Louis case that citizens have the right. And it's not anti-law enforcement. I want there to be police to protect old people and people who can't defend themselves. And we need police. And I love the police and fire. I was a wildland firefighter. But there needs to be equal and fair treatment. The young man, you saw the story of the young man, Brandon Ellington, who was bounced out of the boat. A guy wanted to cover it up, but a 28-year veteran of the patrol said, "This is wrong. We killed the young man." And they drummed him out of the highway patrol. He sued and got his job back. And that guy went to jail for 3 days. I think if I committed manslaughter, for this YouTube video, they want to put me in jail. And this guy drowned a kid in the boat. I don't think they should throw him under the prison. I think he should get what any other man would get, maybe a year, or I'm sure he's sorry that the young man drowned. Just like Folsom that shot Jeffrey had PTSD from shooting and killing another man, and he had told his psychiatrist, the next guy that pulls his wallet out too quick, I may shoot him. So it's just accountability. Pete Mondo in Kansas City, I called the radio station and brought up the latest shooting and the highway patrol. And he said, "Oh, Darrell, you just hate the police." And they cut me off. I don't hate the police. I don't not support law enforcement. I think they have plenty of training and plenty of money. It has to be applied properly with good leadership.
Okay. So
there's a rant.
When you look at the field of 21 candidates for United States Senate on the Republican side, and you see that there are people who are raising and spending millions of dollars, and clearly you're not doing that.
No, I'm unable to.
What makes you feel that you have a path and that this is a viable candidacy?
I have to try. And in America, everybody gets to try, right? I don't expect a participation prize, but in America, everyone's supposed to stand by. And I think with the shooting of Jeffrey, is that being a Christian person, I believe that happened for a reason. He was shot twice in the chest and once in the head, and he survived. And it's so that good men would stand up, like the good highway patrolman that stood up about the young man being drowned. I want to stand up for Jeffrey. I want to remember my brothers in bonds and call for accountability. I would like the citizens, to be able to convene a citizens grand jury. And there was a Missouri congressman from Lamar, Missouri, Emory, and he had got a bill into committee. I think it's 871 or so. It's the citizens' right to convene a grand jury, and that's just where some citizens can say, we got a guy down here doing some chicanery, and we would like a grand jury to look at it. That's I was indicted, but I was indicted by a grand jury because they didn't want to have the preliminary hearing and ask the lying witnesses questions. So they indicted me.
Yeah. That's the thing about a grand jury. When it's used, it's one of the main reasons is to hide whatever evidence that they have from the defense until the last possible minute, and to avoid any potential cross-examination.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get them into depositions. So.
So, what's your sense of, we're going to have these hearings tonight.
The January 6th?
The January 6th hearing tonight. And so what's your feeling about the events of January 6th?
I think anyone who broke the law should be prosecuted. But I also think that President Trump asked for the National Guard to be there, and the National Guard wasn't there to show a show of force by law enforcement, so the people were able to push the barricades down and come in. And in some instances, they were invited in, and in some instances, they fought their way in. And I think it's unfair that the committee doesn't have fair and balanced members. A number of people from both sides of the aisle.
Well, that was because the Republican leader in the House refused to appoint any members, and the Republican members were appointed from those who told the Speaker they were willing to participate. Do you think that it was a wrong choice by the Republican leader to not?
I do. They should
participate.
Yes, they should have participated, so that I do recall that now that you refresh my memory on that, and I think, and that's where we have to have a conversation in America. You look at Black Lives Matter. I think they get a lot of things wrong, but the one thing they do have right is accountability, but they blame the wrong person. A lot of times they're blaming the wrong person when and there should be a conversation. This thing, you look at the abortion issue with the leaked ruling that, now they had someone in front of Kavanaugh's house that was arrested. And in the past, when I was a young man, I remember the Olympic bombings and the anti-abortion people who were willing to fight and hurt people, which is absolutely wrong. And we see this today from the other side. But I am a real believer in the 10th Amendment, and I think it should be up to the states. I think if you want to live in California and have the rainbow flag, you look at these sports guys who don't want to wear the rainbow patch, and they claimed religious exemption. They have every right to do that. This is America. We're not going to force people to wear a my Missouri battle flag. I don't want to force that on anyone. I don't want to force anyone to wear a Star of David. We're supposed to have freedom, and by saying that you're a bigot because you don't want to support something you don't believe in, that's not America.
Okay. So, what do you think? What is your path to winning this nomination? What do you need to do to prevail on this?
I want to get out, and I'm going to try to talk to some people. I hand out jury nullification information. I was at a feed store in Hartville today, and I give out some fully informed jury information. It has my name on it, and it says judge wisely, and I want people to be fully informed Just like when the police have a video of a shooting, it should be released to the public. Even if the officer made a mistake, it may have been an all right mistake, because we all make mistakes. And they told me Billy Long came in there and he gives out candy bars. Billy's handing out candy bars. I want to hand out education and educate people of how we can take America back to it being the constitutional republic that it was founded to be.
All right. Well, I'm working. The story I'm working on. The idea is to get a chance for, like I said, there's 21 candidates, and as you know, all the oxygen so far has been sucked up by those six that the three that were on the stage.
I think there's some.
The three that didn't show up. So
I think there's some really good people, but they should do the job they were hired to do. And Eric Schmidt, in a letter to Matt Thompson of Columbia, Missouri, in reference to Jeffrey Winehouse's shooting, he said, "I can't help Jeffrey as Attorney General. I work for the state, not the people." If I'm correct, he got his job. He was elected by the people, and the first people he works for are the people of Missouri, not the Missouri employees. He has a duty to help them with legal matters and the operation of the Attorney General, customer complaints and the things that the Attorney General's office is supposed to do. But when it comes to accountability, they can't cover up, deny justice to someone.
He spent an awful lot of time suing school districts over whether or not they're
the mask mandate,
requiring kids to have masks, and he's spending a lot of time demanding that they turn over their curriculum materials to him so he can check to see how they're teaching history. What do you think of that activity of the Attorney General's office?
I don't vaccinate my children. We are not for vaccination, and we don't believe I don't believe the masks do that well. It's been studied. I think if you're sick, you should wear one. You shouldn't go around people when you're sick, but I don't think we should put it on children. I don't know if you saw the videos of little children and they were forcing them to wear a mask and they're crying. At some point, that child should be at home. If it is a dangerous place where the children have to play with each other for their development, and we can't. That's our future. Our children are our future, and we don't want to damage them. Our world is hard enough.
So you're not really. You don't really. You don't have. Sounds like you don't have a real issue with how the Attorney General is handling the mask issue or his demands for information about curriculum, but you think that when it comes to criminal prosecutions, and he's done this over and over again, and this is something that the Attorney General's office has generally, in my experience, done over and over again, which is, once you're convicted, there's nothing that they are never going to take a second look to see.
And that's unfair because mistakes are made. You look at John Kennedy's famous Secret Society speech. I think John F. Kennedy today would be considered a conservative with the wokers. And in that speech, he says when mistakes are made, there should be accountability. We shouldn't have guerrillas by night. It should be armies by the day. We have all these undeclared wars. I would vote no for. I'm a non-interventionist. I think we need to worry about America. And that's a true America First policy, which I think Trump could have did better on. I'm not a total Trump fan. I think we certainly were in better shape with him than we are now. And they were a great representation of. I think his biggest problem was to the left is he represented a strong alpha male, and that's what we need. I think there are differences between men and women. I have a daughter who's in the National Guard, the Arkansas National Guard, and I don't like that she's going to be an infantryman. I don't think women should be on the battlefield. I think they have a role to play, and certainly.
What did she think of it?
Well, she's a young independent woman, and she's going to do what she wants to do, and I'm gonna support what she's going to do. But I've let her know my feelings on it, and she's like, okay, that's your feelings, and we'll go on. She's going to do, So
you're still gonna let her come to your house, even though she's in an infantry position, right?
oh yeah, and she's married. She has a good husband. I would like her to have children, or women are, I'm a stay-at-home dad. My wife is the breadwinner for us. She has a lot of college education, and she's a great mother though, and it just worked out. It just worked out that way, that me swinging a hammer or I'm not an attorney. I'm not a brainiac. I don't have a degree in anything. I finished 10th grade and started working, framing houses, roofing buildings, working in radiator shops. I've had a multitude of different jobs. Horse and carriage driver. I'm a horseman. I've trimmed horse feet and shoed horses, and I've done all kinds of things like that, and we're very blessed. My wife is 14 years younger than me. I was divorced and didn't ever think I would. It was a horrible divorce, so I advocate for fathers. I realize sometimes fathers get a raw deal in the courts, and fathers love their children as much as any woman. A good father loves his children as much as any woman does, and we're blessed that my wife has a master's degree, and she works for the Compass Corporation. We live over here where we live because she received a substantial raise for us to move over here. And if we were to pay for childcare for our littler ones, and then I have a sit.
Yeah, childcare can cost as much as you can make in some jobs, right?
Yeah, and we have a 7 and a 9-year-old. The 6-year, they just turned 7 and 9. They were homeschooled until this year. They wanted to put my 8-year-old in 2nd grade. They tested her. I said, "Did you get anything wrong?" And being, if you saw my YouTube videos, I don't take no for an answer. I don't take being picked on. She wasn't picked on, but I called the principal, said, "Oh, we're just going to put her in 2nd grade." So I called the supervisor or the superintendent, and he said, "Normally we don't do that." She got all straight A's this year. She'll be going to 4th grade. And I have to tell you, the Uvalde shooting, it just about broke my heart listening to those parents' stories, and then for people to say that it's fake and everything, it really angers me because I don't believe it was fake. I believe there were failures with government, which you've seen on my Facebook and my Twitter, and I've been a little harsh, but I think when mistakes are made, they have to be, sometimes you got to scream and holler about it to get somebody to listen. And
so let me get some biographical information from you.
Okay.
Real quick. How old are you?
I am 54.
And you were born
in Webb City, Missouri.
In where?
Webb City, Missouri.
Webb City. Okay.
The Praying Hands.
And so you say you're married, and you have how many kids?
I have 6 children. I have 3 boys and 2 girls. Or I have 3 boys and 3 girls.
Okay. And so you did bring up the Uvalde shooting a couple of times, and you talked about the failures of law enforcement and the need for them to have a requirement to protect. Do you think that there's anything that should be done to limit anyone's access to guns?
No, I don't. I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is the society, the lack of empathy. I think the movies I have on my Facebook, Matthew McConaughey, he gave a really passionate speech there at the White House. But he's glorified guns and the use of guns. And the guns, I don't believe, are the problem. I'm a big fan of Jeff Cooper. The police are away. The only person that's going to protect you is yourself. And there are people that are older who can't fight. Someone breaks in their home, they need the right to defend themselves. And we can't. That's a human right to defend yourself.
So no... raising the age for purchasing.
Well, if they want to raise the age to 21, then why not raise the age of 18? No 18-year-olds in the military. I've always thought that it's a little ridiculous for a young man to be 18 and he could be sent to war, but he can't go in and have a beer. And I like to drink a beer every once in a while. I like the Kansas City IPA. And they're going to send you to war at 18, but you can't have they don't want you to have an AR-15 at 18. I think we should have some kind of compulsory service. I know a lot of people are going to hate that. They're not going to like that. But they used to train. But I went to school at Pittsburgh, Kansas, and Carl Junction. And when I was a kid, there were still guns on the gun rack at the school. And nobody ever thought about going out and getting a gun and hurting anyone because we all had fought. Yeah. And
nobody did that stuff.
No.
The first time I ever heard of any kind of thing like this, these ideas of someone going in and shooting up a place for whatever reason they thought that was the solution to their problems. I think it was in the late '80s or early '90s in Louisville, Kentucky, in a printing plant.
The going postal thing. I remember that from the '80s. There were some postal shootings, and
the quote unquote disgruntled postal worker.
We had driver's ed. I learned to drive. We lived over at Pittsburgh, Kansas when I was a kid, and I got my driver's license when I was 14 years old, and they had driver's ed. There's no reason we have all these people having babies and children, and they don't have any lessons in parenting. Being a parent's hard. There should be some kind of mandatory service of young people to serve in your community. If you're handicapped, there's a job for everyone.
Right.
And then we could see your mental. Hey, this kid is acting out. He's acting out against others, and there could be an intervention before something terrible.
You could even make vocational or college training funds.
They do that in China. They say, hey, they give you some aptitude testing. I was not cut out to try to be a lawyer or a person about the law now, but I've just been drawn to it over the years. I always liked working on cars and building houses, and I had the aptitude for that when I was a young man. And so many people that, my kid's going to be a college student. They push children to do things that maybe they couldn't do. If we had communities that work together, hey, he's really focused on a vocation, like you said, and get people in the right direction. It's pretty much you're all on your own. And
but compulsory service. In exchange for your compulsory service, here is your ticket to go to a college or the state technical school in Lynn, or the local.
There's a good use of government funds.
Yeah.
Instead of just writing off all this student loan debt, this is outrageous because there are many people that have paid.
Yeah, your wife has a degree, but you don't. There are more people without a degree than do have a degree,
and they're not needed. They're not needed. There's not the jobs for all those degrees. There's jobs.
Well, the idea that you end up with debt, and you're asking the people who didn't go to college to pay the debt that you took on voluntarily and signed up for. Right. Now, another candidate today was saying that the idea that the federal government charges like 7% interest on these loans is ridiculous. That if the federal government's going to lend you the money, it shouldn't be there profiteering off your interest payments. So that was an interesting approach.
And we had Janet Yellen talking about abortion and social justice issues, and I thought she was the Treasury Secretary and should be concerned about our inflation in the country rather than social issues or guns or things like that. She should be worried about how mom and dad are going to be able to keep a roof over their head. Housing is a big issue. There's a housing crisis in America. With the homeless veterans. God bless our homeless veterans.
Right.
And there should be no veteran that's homeless. There should be no veterans killing themselves. But they're left alone. They don't have family. Not necessarily that they would want to accept God, but that we can't have people that went and fought wars for politicians, and then here I am trying to be a politician. And we have to be strong. I would want to secure our border and use our military, and if we need to defend America, I would want to defend America. but we can't trash the veterans. It was really good what Trump got the Veterans Administration to where veterans could go locally. I knew veterans that used to travel from Springfield, Missouri down to Fayetteville, Arkansas, and that was a long trip for them. Now they can go to the hospital in Springfield. And as these guys get older, there are solutions. Common sense is not so common anymore.
Yeah, the VA system is a really good system, but the further you're away from it, the more difficult it is. I mean, it doesn't help you if it's 100 miles away, does it?
Mm-hmm. No.
All right, well, sir, I appreciate you taking the.
And who are you with again? Who are you?
Missouri Independent.
Missouri Independent. I hope you write a fair piece about me, because certainly I don't have. Eric Greitens was given $1 million by Home Depot, and I am an average guy, and I talk to a lot of people that think that's who should be up there. Is some average people. So
let me make sure that I've got your email, because I took a link to your YouTube account and I took a link to your Twitter account, but I didn't see an email. Maybe it's on your.
I can give it to you.
Okay.
It's AMLOVE555 @gmail.com.
Okay. AMLOVE 555 @gmail.com.
Yes, and that's my beautiful wife's name, April Mary Love, and and my children have 4 names. They have their birth names, so me and my wife just kind of, and me and my wife have been married for 11 years, and we have a 9-year-old. So I had been, my previous wife was a shack up, and we had to get divorced, messy divorce when you have children and things like that. But my new wife, I met her, and I said, I want to marry you, and I don't want to just live with you. Let's get married. And so we got married, and a couple years later, we have some children, and I think marriage is a great thing.
Well, sounds like it's working for you. So, all right. Well, I'll send you an email when the story posts. It'll probably run first part of next week.
Okay.
Like I said, this is a story where I'm trying to give a little bit of, like I said, a little bit of oxygen to all the folks who are on the list.
Thank you so much.
Spending millions of dollars.
Thank you so much. And your name?
Rudy Keller.
Rudy Keller. Nice to meet you, Rudy. And if you had any more questions, please call me, and I look forward to the article.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. Bye.